Welcome back to the Political Pulse 2.0. Today we're tackling a hot topic that sparks fierce debates. Who's really better at handling crime, conservatives or liberals? Former President Donald Trump recently called for a violent day of police retaliation to eradicate crime immediately. His remarks raise a question. Which side of the political spectrum actually does a better job of reducing crime? Let's dive into the facts and see what the numbers say. To start, it's important to note that both conservative and liberal cities face crime issues. But do red or blue cities fare better when it comes to crime rates? Looking at the data, it's not as simple as one side having all the answers. Take Texas, for example, a largely conservative state. Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio consistently rank among the cities with the highest violent crime rates in the country. In 2022, Houston had a violent crime rate of approximately 1,255 incidents per 100,000 people, which is significantly higher than the national average. Meanwhile, liberal-leaning cities like New York and Los Angeles also face high crime rates, but there's more nuance here. New York, which has a Democratic mayor and state leadership, has actually seen a decrease in overall crime rates since the 1990s, largely due to proactive policing strategies. According to the NYC crime stats, New York City had one of the lowest violent crime rates among major U.S. cities in 2021, at around 540 incidents per 100,000 people, still high but lower than many red states. When we look at violent crime by state, a surprising pattern emerges. According to FBI Uniform Crime Reporting data, many states with the highest rates of violent crime, like Alaska, Tennessee, and Louisiana, tend to be conservative. Louisiana had one of the highest murder rates in the country, with about 19.9 homicides per 100,000 people in 2020, despite conservative leadership. But what about blue states? California, Illinois, and Maryland have their own crime issues. But not all blue states are plagued by the same levels of violence. For example, Massachusetts, a largely liberal state, has one of the lowest violent crime rates in the country, at about 327 incidents per 100,000 people in 2020. So, can we really say that one political ideology is better or worse at managing crime? The answer is more complex. Local factors such as poverty levels, unemployment rates, and access to education often play a bigger role in crime rates than whether the city or state leans conservative or liberal. But here's something we're not always factoring in. What about other types of crime? Specifically, white-collar crime. White-collar crime includes things like fraud, embezzlement, and insider trading, and it's often more economically devastating than blue-collar crimes. According to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, white-collar crime costs the United States an estimated $300 billion annually, far surpassing the financial damage caused by street crimes like robbery or assault. For example, the 2008 financial crisis, which was largely the result of reckless behavior by large financial institutions, wiped out billions in savings, homes, and jobs. Yet, those responsible were never demonized in the same way blue-collar criminals are. Most of the perpetrators walked away with minimal penalties, while the people who suffered the most were everyday Americans. So why do we demonize blue-collar crime, things like burglary and violent offenses, while white-collar crime often flies under the radar? One reason is visibility. Street crimes are more immediate, more visible to the public, while white-collar crimes happen behind closed doors. Additionally, media and political narratives often focus on tough-on-crime policies that target lower-income communities, while ignoring the systemic damage caused by corporate greed. When we talk about crime, we need to expand the conversation beyond street-level offenses. Crimes like wage theft, which is when employers illegally withhold wages from workers, affect millions of people every year and often go unpunished. According to the Economic Policy Institute, wage theft robs workers of billions annually, an amount that dwarfs street theft. Yet who gets targeted as criminals? Often it's those in lower-income communities, not the CEOs and executives who break the law on a larger scale. At the end of the day, the question isn't just about whether conservatives or liberals are better at handling crime, it's about whether we're focusing on the right types of crime at all. Street crime and violent offenses certainly need to be addressed, But we also need to ask, why are we not paying more attention to the white-collar crimes that wreak havoc on the economy and millions of lives? Why do we demonize certain types of crime and ignore others? What's really going on? So, if we hold true to Trump's promise of one real rough, nasty and violent day of police retaliation in order to eradicate crime immediately, one must then wonder, if we factor in white-collar crime, who would really have a rough, nasty and violent day? What do you think? Is our focus on crime too narrow? Should we be paying more attention to corporate and white-collar crime? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the Political Pulse 2.0 for more deep dives into the issues that shape our society.